Hello folks, welcome back. Chris in Central Pennsylvania. Time for a little more analysis of South Africa's political scene, specifically the defection of 25-year-old Liam Jacobs from the Patriotic Alliance back to the Democratic Alliance. Now, the Independent Line has kindly given him a soapbox in which to explain his move, and I'm glad they did, because it's good to hear what young Liam Jacobs has to say about his disloyalty to the DA, to the PA, and back to the DA. He specifically pointed several things out. I'm going to read his comments and give you my feedback. He talks about the Patriotic Alliance and the ANC. The PA sold out its voters to the ANC. It is an uncritical supporter, a cheerleader in fact, both in Parliament and public. The ANC's corruption destroys lives and robs futures, yet no matter what ANC corruption is exposed, the PA never holds them to account. The DA, however, is unafraid to hold the ANC accountable. It speaks out openly when it disagrees and uses its role in the GNU to apply pressure. It takes to the streets and the courts to stand for what is right, just as it stopped the VAT hike. When the DA wins, the people win. Except the DA didn't stop the VAT hike. That was accomplished by civil sector actors, not the DA. They fraudulently took credit for something they had virtually no role in. And that is not exactly correct, Liam. National health insurance, expropriation without compensation, the Basic Education Laws Amendment, the Employment Equity Act, nothing but DA silence and complicity are present in each of those cases. The DA is also silent and has done nothing to hold Cyril Ramaphosa to account for Pala Pala. So contrary to Liam's claims about the PA being an ANC cheerleader, the DA is a complicit partner of the ANC. They facilitate the ANC's actions. Without the DA, the ANC would not have been able to rule. They only got to 49% with other coalition partners. They wouldn't have been able to rule without the DA. They have enabled the ANC to behave in the fashion it does. Sorry, Liam, your analysis for someone who studied politics at university is very poor. Instructions to defend Fidel Adams. Coloreds are not criminals. Criminal culture is not colored culture. However, in the PA, we were instructed to defend Mr. Fidel Adams, saying that he was arrested because he was colored. This is false. The allegations against Adams are his own, and he must answer for his actions. His decisions are not a reflection of the colored community. The PA thinks all colored people are the same. We are not. We have a rich, diverse culture. We are diverse people who love this country and want to build a better life for our children. Now here Liam has a point. From the outside, it sure has appeared as if the Patriotic Alliance is focused on coloreds and sees them as a monolithic body. That's why they go and recruit in that community almost exclusively from the outside. And yes, the colored community is very diverse. Cape Malays, Griquas, Bastas, and others speak to this reality. He says the DA is built on non-racialism. They see us as individuals who must be judged on our merit and mistakes, not on our skin color. Now, he does have a point here. The DA is a non-racial party. Unfortunately, they've been dipping into the race hustling arena of late, and Liam is one example of that. They don't want Liam Jacobs because he's talented or has potential. He hasn't shown any of that yet. They want him because he's colored and has a large social media following. And the DA doesn't get social media, and they don't understand strategic communications still after all these years. That's why they languish, one of the reasons. Xenophobia. The DA believes in securing our borders. Illegal immigration has brought chaos and disorder to South Africa, and the full implementation of the rule of law must now happen, upholding South Africa's sovereignty and respecting rights and human dignity. The PA's rhetoric, on the other hand, is violent, not rooted in the rule of law, and has led to confrontational behavior that I fear could incite further violence. That is a line I refuse to cross. And I'll give him credit for this. And yes, Gate McKenzie has been a cheerleader for anti-foreign sentiment in South Africa. His conduct has not been a good signal to South Africans. So on this point, I agree with Liam. No governance structure within the PA. Decisions in the PA are made by one man. No one is elected. Dude, no one is elected at any political party. Are you serious? No one representing anybody in South Africa is elected. They're all picked by political parties. So how is that any different? He says there's no democracy and everything is centralized with no internal structures of accountability or collective wisdom, no checks or balances. There are no meaningful systems to build policy, do oversight, train, or build the institutional depth that the work of government requires. Parties or governments cannot be run by live stream either. Now, the absence of structures in the vanity project that is the Patriotic Alliance have long been apparent to even outsiders like myself, who've been frustrated trying to get anything out of the PA. Liam should have been bright enough to recognize this at age 24. He was not. Therefore contributed to this mess. He says, my time in the DA showed me they're a well-oiled machine. Structures are elected regularly, ideas are debated, public reps and activists are held to account based on the DA's constitution with fairness and equality, but are given a fair opportunity to correct their mistakes. Actually, that's not true. That argument is debatable. the abysmal treatment of white DA members abused by John Steenhuisen, and his running roughshod over the party, as well as a tendency to play favorites with compliant subordinates, argues against Liam's points. The treatment of Ronaldo Cruz, who was supposed to remain in the party but kicked out because the decision of the board responsible for that investigation was overruled illegally under the DA Constitution. Now, they don't treat people fairly. There is no opportunity to correct mistakes. You are cashiered if you cut against the grain. Trust me, I know lots of DA politicians and counselors across the country who can't speak their mind when they disagree with that party. He says the PA operates in a space of anarchy. It disciplines via Facebook Lives and social media. The DA has a track record of good governance, but where the PA governs, people are put last, things collapse, and promises are never kept. Well, these, of course, are debatable points, too. The DA gets things done, but what exactly does a DA get done? Not much. Cater deployment. It's my observation that there is a worrying trend of appointments within the Department of Sports, Arts, and Culture. It is worrisome to see so many PA-aligned figures and members show up as board members, performers at events, and linked to events under Mzansi golden economy. What happened to merit? There is a continuation of Zuma-era politics that defines South Africa's worst years. I refuse to play a part in the capture of our institutions. The PA strives to be what the ANC is, a buddy-buddy system. Again, here Liam Jacobs has a point. He says the DA, however, rejects catered deployment because it undermines merit-based hiring and weakens state institutions by prioritizing personal loyalty over competence and commitment to the Republic. Just like the DA, I believe it should be our hard work, skills, and effort that get us ahead in life. I thought the PA was the answer, but I realized it was not. So the question that I and many people are asking here, Liam, is what led you to that poor analysis in the first place? I think people would like to know. It speaks to your lack of critical thinking skills, your immaturity, and your loyalty, or in this case, disloyalty to the DA. He says, I returned to the party not as a public rep, but as an activist, with my conscience intact, committed to working hard every day to stop anyone else from making the same mistakes. An activist for what exactly? Unfinished soccer fields? He wraps up by saying, I am committed to unseating the ANC and his green proxies and helping ensure that the DA becomes the largest party in South Africa and continues delivering for all. Well, good luck with that, Liam. The Democratic Alliance is a dumpster fire of egos, corrupt disregard for its own constitution, and an epic own goal score that has pissed off hundreds of thousands of its voters. The DA is in for a rude awakening on November 5th. Now, when the ship goes down, Liam, please give us a heads up which party you plan to jump to in November. I hear that Tawny Pat is looking for compliant sheep to be part of her good party. And he says it's good to be home. Really? I thought home was South Africa, not a political party. What say you, Mzansi? South Africa? Cheers.